Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Shanice, and if you're new here, make sure you are going ahead and hitting the subscribe button, and also you can turn on that bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. And you also want to make sure you are hitting the all for the notifications so that you can get notified when I post all my videos instead of just it having notifications for when YouTube feels like you would want to watch the video. All right, so that's a long spiel, but anyways, I wanted to come on here to talk about the new Korean drama that has been trending on the top 10 shows in Netflix, and has been causing all sorts of controversy. We're going to talk about the drama. I won't spoil it for you, and then we'll talk about what makes it controversial. So it's called Our Sticky Love, and it stars Junghaein, who I actually really like when he does romance type dramas. I tend to watch him if I can. And then we also have hayoung, who's the actress embroiled in a lot of the controversy. That's this is probably like her first major lead role, at least as far as I know. I haven't seen her actually leading a drama like this, at least on this scale. So this was her breakthrough drama. And the Our Sticky Love, before it even came out, there was some controversy around the plot, because the plot itself is this ambitious prosecutor who has lost her memory, and then she moves in with a guy who claims to be her boyfriend, and spoiler alert, she's feeling like he's not, right? So already people were like, oh, this is kind of murky. Is there consent? Like, is she being taken advantage of? To that I will say the show does handle this with a lot of, I want to say, thoughtfulness. It's very cautious in how it approaches the romance between the leads, all things considered, especially the fact that she doesn't have her memories. I think they executed that well. The drama has a lot of really, really, really good actors in the cast, and I think hayoung actually does a pretty decent job of portraying her character, and the growth that character experiences over the course of the 12 episode drama. And yes, I love once again that we just got all the 12 episodes, no seasons, just all the 12 episodes. It wasn't more than it needed to be, it was just right. Of course, this is one of those that because of the twist that we see later on, which if you were paying attention, you probably anticipated the end and the twist that it had. It may have made more sense to have at least an episode or more to cover that aspect. But one thing I like is when dramas end on a happy note, even if it's unrealistic. Like, I don't need to know how they work it out as far as, the long distance aspect of their love, her career. I don't need to know those things. And so that's why I was okay with the 12 episodes. I like happy endings. I like ending things on a good note. So, give me more of that, yes. One thing I will say is that there are some plot holes. I'm not saying this is a perfect drama. There are some plot holes, like, the dementia or Alzheimer's with his grandmother aspect, and just different things that I can point out. However, I don't think it's one that I need to get hung up on those things, because like I said, as long as for the most part the story is wrapped up, I'm okay. Now, as far as the controversial aspects that have been coming up since the drama premiered, it all started because hayoung, the actress, had gone on a show to promote this rom-com that they're in, and she brought up her great grandfather or something like that, someone in her family tree that apparently she didn't know the most about. She had been under the impression that this person was good, but then there's some evidence that's suggesting that this forefather of hers actually was pro-Japanese, and if you know a lot about, you know, Korea's history, you know how touchy of a subject that period with the Japanese was. And, you know, the way she kind of handled everything that went about, the way her agency also handled it. Needless to say, the fans in Korea are not happy. She's losing brand endorsements. It's gotten to be a lot, and she's had to issue a personal apology. And Junghaein is having to like carry the burden of the promotion of the drama, and even a drama that she has already shot, you know, a lot for is kind of in the air right now, because they're like, can we even keep going with her? Is she fully canceled? Nobody knows. Is the cancellation going to stick? What's going to happen? You know, and so one thing I will say about this is that, you know, I've come on here and talked a lot about how different, you know, the Korean entertainment industry is compared to here in America. The things that people can get canceled for over there just can be mind-boggling. In this one, knowing the history of Koreans and, you know, Japanese and just everything that went along here, I do think like this is one of those times when it may seem overblown, but I understand why. And I just think that it was a combination of her attitude about it during and afterwards that kind of made it escalate to the point where it has gotten, because there are Korean celebrities that did have, you know, proven people that were pro-Japanese in their family, but the way they handled it was different, because they handled it with grace. You know, there wasn't really a hint of arrogance. They came out, you know, knowledgeable and like apologized up front. But I think what people got really upset about is the fact that she tried to act like, no, y'all are wrong, and then just instead of being humble about it and learning about it, you know, the attitude that she had. I am of the opinion that just because there's one bad aspect to a person doesn't mean that the person should be completely canceled, especially in something like this. I think this was a learning experience for her, at least I hope it was. But I just think about the people who put so much time, energy, and effort into this, and I don't want this to now besmirch the whole drama and even the ones that she's working on, because it's not just her that is involved. Like this, sometimes these dramas are how people put food on the table for their family. So I just hope that as people are getting worked up and, you know, canceling her, that they just keep in mind that, hey, this work that she did should be independent of her and her character. Let's give Korean celebrities a little bit more grace the way they give Western celebrities, because Western celebrities can do literally like the worst things and people will still watch their movies. So, you know, that's my take on this. What is yours? Let me know in the comments. Did you watch the drama? Do you feel like you can't watch it now because of her? Let me know. What do you think? I love you guys as always, and most importantly, God does. And I'll see you next time. Bye.